Now, this next question comes in from NeuroBioBoy in regards to my review of the Pixelbook Go. He correctly notes that we did not talk about the built-in end of life on Chromebooks. And it used to be 5 years from the time that the hardware platform was released to when Google would stop supporting it. Now they have pushed it to 6.5 years, and that includes the new Pixelbook Go. And it's something that we didn't talk about. I probably should have talked about it because, yes, after 6.5 years of ownership, this laptop, even if it's fully functional, will no longer get security and system updates. It will probably continue to work, but you will not get any updates on it after that period of time. And even Apple, who sells very expensive hardware, is keeping most of its 7 or 8-year-old machines up to date. My 2012 MacBook Pro over there just got the new Catalina update, and it's running just fine on it. That age, of course, would not get an update on the Google Chrome side of the equation for a premium laptop. And of course, Windows tends to support things forever as long as they can continue running Windows. So I wanted to dive into this a little bit. And one thing that concerned me was that as I was going through the marketing for the Pixelbook Go, they didn't mention anything about the fact that support ends 6.5 years from basically now. Because if you bought the laptop 2 years from now, it would only have 4.5 years, because it's not based on when you bought it, it's based on when the hardware platform was released, and they don't mention it at all. They do mention that it's always up to date. There's a little footnote here that reminds you that you have to be online to get the updates, but it doesn't mention that those supported updates will end at a certain time. So that was something that I think Google should be more upfront about. Now, they do have a very detailed page about the end-of-life policy that you can see linked on screen here. Again, we're looking at 6.5 years of auto-update support. After that period of time expires, they don't get those updates anymore. I took a look at the Google products that they have listed in this auto-update policy. You can see the original Chromebook, the CR48, it stopped getting updates in December of 2015. Of note is the first real premium Chromebook, the Pixel, that they released back, who knows when, 5 or 6 years ago. Support for that ended last June, and in fact, it did come to an end. There was an article on Droid Life here with a screenshot of a user on that Pixel device who said the device is still working just fine, but they can no longer receive updates for it. And this is something that I think Google needs to revisit. If you look at things like Neverware, there are solutions out there and companies essentially running on the fact that there is a demand for a never-ending Chrome OS updated operating system. What Neverware here does is they allow you to turn some of your old Windows PCs into Chromebooks, and you pay them a licensing fee and they keep them going. There is a free version of it as well. Unfortunately, though, Neverware is not supporting old Google Pixelbooks because it's too hard to get their operating system installed on it. And you would think it would be easier given the fact that it is running Chrome OS essentially, and Neverware is using the open source Chromium OS, which is essentially the same thing. But they lock them down so securely that you can't get your own stuff on there. And I guess to some degree that does make the laptop more secure even after its updates end. But nonetheless, it's not good for consumers to have what is essentially a perfectly fine working Chromebook that is no longer getting any updates or support from the company that makes it 6.5 years after it's been manufactured. And I think what Google should do is just open it up, or at least give consumers the option to say, you know what, we understand the risk here in removing the Chrome OS operating system, but we know the risk. We'd like the ability to do that. It'd be nice if Google offered some way just to wipe it clean, allow you to install Windows on it or put Neverware on it or something to make it easier for people to continue getting use out of a perfectly functional laptop. And it really doesn't help with the e-waste problem either, to have people tossing out perfectly good laptops, which become essentially valueless because you can't even sell them to anybody because they are no longer supported. So my ask of Google, and I know they're watching, is to come up with some strategy that if you do want to end support for these things, give consumers an easy option for choosing another operating system later, whether Neverware, Windows, or Linux. Give us some options that are easy to install, that don't require a degree in computer science to get everything working, And I think that might alleviate some of these concerns, because there are consumers like NeuroBioBoy here who are worried about this and are not buying Chromebooks because they don't want to have that fixed end-of-life date. Now, we are seeing some movement there based on companies who are recognizing this as being an issue. So Lenovo, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, is now extending the lifespan of some of its Chromebooks, but it's on them. So they have funded this to keep those Chromebooks operating. And these are things that are used in a lot of schools, so I'm sure they were hearing some pushback from institutions that were buying these at volume. So Lenovo, at least, is extending life on these for another 2 or 3 years or so, which I think is a good step in the right direction. And it would be great, with Google being the flagship company of this operating system, to do the same.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters, the 4 Guys with Quarters podcast, Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Brian Parker, and Kalyan Kumar. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/s.